VIDEOTECH.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today on this episode of Return to VIDEOTECH to give thanks for the works of two great filmmakers, David Lynch and Eli Roth. That's right, people. Our plates will be full with the aroma of Douglas firs as we break down Lynch's television debut pilot of Twin Peaks. And for the main course, we'll be serving up a healthy serving of human turkey, mashed potato brains, and bloody cranberry sauce while we dissect Eli Roth's Thanksgiving. And for dessert, we've got a great discussion on Jack Frost and the Lobster just baking in the oven, hot and ready to close out the show. I'm Keith. With me, as always, is my friend, co-host, and enjoyer of a nice cup of coffee and slice of pie, Matt. Amen. And how's it going, dude?
That's right. Wow, what an intro. Really cranking it up here for the holiday season. You love to hear it. I'm dressed in my nicest attire for Thanksgiving dinner. And by the way, we're really keeping people on their toes with the release schedule of the show, which is like, who knows? Could be a month off, could be 2 episodes in short succession. Keeping ourselves on our toes, constantly moving the schedule, just, not feeling up for it. But you know what, Keith? We're resilient. We show up. We're going to give the people what they want, which is a great Thanksgiving episode.
That's right. I'm ready for some cinema dinner.
That's right. Let's dive in. Okay, so for the opening segment here, we spoiler, we discussed it off show, but neither of us made it to the theater. But we each did have a little bit of new movie experiences and some physical media pickups. So why don't you go first?
All right. So, well, first I'll just talk about one that I picked up. This is the last thing that I'm definitely getting for the Criterion sale. Came out today. Eyes Wide Shut, the Kubrick classic.
Absolutely.
I know you were pretty excited about this one. This one's on your Christmas list, right?
It is on my Christmas list. So I'm hopeful that whoever has me for Secret Santa, that this is sitting at their house right now, because that they pre-ordered it and they did the Barnes and Noble sale. It'll be interesting to see, because I do a Secret Santa with my family, and we each make like a wish list or whatever, and it'll be very revealing whether or not the person in my family that has me for Secret Santa actually listens to the show. Because they'll be like, "Oh, yep, I definitely pre-ordered it. I knew about the Barnes and Noble sale." I have a weird feeling like someone's going to end up paying full price for it, though.
Well, I hope that doesn't happen.
Well, then it should be a lesson to them. Listen to the show.
Exactly.
No, I'm super excited about it because it's just one of those movies that's been sitting on my movies I need to own on physical media forever, and I've never owned it. I've never owned a copy of it. I mean, I've watched it several times in my life, and I love it. And as the years have gone on, I've gotten like more and more into it. And it's one of those things that the legend around it continues to grow because, everything that's always in the news now with Epstein and all that shit, like people make all sorts of kind of crazy connections, and Kubrick, unexpectedly dies of a heart attack right after they screen the movie, have like a private screening for the movie. So, there's all sorts of crazy conspiracy theories and stories, and its legend precedes it, but it's also just like a really cool movie that, like most of Kubrick's work, makes you think, and it's just a ride from start to finish. So
yeah, this movie definitely had an impact on me when I first saw it. I'm pretty sure I first watched it like in high school, but all the orgy stuff definitely. When I say that weird kinky stuff freaks me out, this was like the beginning of that, I think.
Yeah, understand.
But I'm stoked on this. There's like so many special features. There's like a featurette on the unfinished films of him, Kubrick. So I'm pretty excited to check that out and all the other special features on there and watch it in 4K.
I'll just say the day that lands on my shelf will be a very fulfilling day for me in my overall physical media and Criterion collecting, because you shared that meme or whatever of like being whatever, a
coming
bunch
out of
of
your room.
and all these family members, like it's like a POV shot of all these people sitting around a table looking at you, and the line was something about I don't know what is it, something like you've asked for.
It's like, why don't you tell everybody about those little Criterion DVDs that you made us pay so much money for?
And I mean, like, you have no idea. I mean, I've been putting like Criterions on my Christmas wish list for like the last like 8 years. Or I mean, I think on one episode we were talking about me getting No Country for Old Men Criterion for Christmas last year, and I
I
mean,
don't know
it's
if she told you or not, but Lindsay messaged me and just said LOL to that.
I know because it's too real,
Yeah.
too real. Um, yeah. Okay. So, what else did you pick up?
So I didn't get much else new, but I did get this is a Neon movie, I think, Together.
Oh yeah.
New Allison Brie and Dave Franco movie, and I watched it already. I didn't ask you before the show, but have you seen this yet or no?
No, I haven't seen it. It's on my list of things that I really want to watch for 2025. Like that, I'm starting to, as we wind down the year, I'm starting to prep for like, oh shit, I got to make my top 10 list for 2025. And I feel like I only have 4 movies on it right now. So,
Yeah, I don't know if this one's gonna be like bumping anything like off the list really, but it might end up on my list. I really liked it.
yeah.
It's it, if you haven't seen the trailers and don't really know what it's about, it's basically just about this couple who's like they're kind of going through it, which is kind of interesting. I guess one complaint I probably have about the movie is I didn't really think that Dave Franco and Allison Brie had that good of chemistry,
Wow.
even though they're actually married in real life.
Yeah. That's a
I don't know if
shame.
that was just like due to the writing or what, but I've heard other people say the exact opposite, so I don't know.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's really cool. There's awesome like practical effects and stuff. There's some CGI too that isn't the best, but the stuff that they do practically is awesome. And yeah, it was giving me like towards the end kind of like the Substance vibes almost, even with how like
Oh
kind
wow.
of wild it gets. And
It
it
gets
actually
that crazy?
explores like all the relationship stuff is like really cool. Like I don't want to dig too far into it because you haven't seen it yet, but the dynamic between the two is really interesting. Like Dave Franco's kind of like this. He's like a musician, struggling artist, and so Allison Brie's kind of like the breadwinner, and kind of like their relationship's just interesting. I'll just say that.
Well, it definitely seemed to be a big year for. I can't remember if I talked about this on the show or not, but it seemed to be like a big year for like weird, dark relationship movies. Like there's a bunch of them out, and I haven't seen a lot of them. Together is one of the ones that's on my list that I want to watch. That movie Splitsville with Dakota
Hmm.
Johnson, that's like one that's on my list that I want to watch too. I just watched, so we'll pivot real quick to what what I did cross off the list for this year. I just watched that movie Oh Hi on
Hmm.
Netflix, and um, I liked it quite a bit. Lindsay liked it too. The first 40 minutes or so of it, I was like, holy shit, I love this. Like, I loved the first half. I mean, I was like, this is like millennial misery, but but like the Kathy Bates character, I'm like totally rooting for. Like, I was like, and it was cracking me up. It felt, it's from a girl's perspective, so I can't say that I related to her experience directly, but like it's definitely felt just relatable, the overall experience, like just being in relationships in your whatever mid to late 20s, and the uncertainties, and the you know as people are trying to figure out like, is this something that's going to be serious or not? Like all of that was really ringing true to me, even though the movie goes to like an absurd place in the first half. And then the second half, it really like struggled to like maintain that same level. Like there's still funny stuff in the second half, but I wasn't quite like, holy shit, I love this. Like in the first half, I was really like digging it and vibing with it. But after we wrapped it, Lindsay and I simultaneously were logging it on Letterboxd, and she goes, "Wow, Sean Fennessy gave this 2 stars, and I don't know, somebody else, some other whatever internet presence gave it 1.5." And I was like, I'm giving it 4. I don't know. I really had a good time with it, even though I will definitely concede that it hits a level that it's not able to like quite maintain, but I still found it to be like a really enjoyable watch and bringing some good attributes to the table. But pivoting, Keith, to
Hmm.
my physical media pickups, no crazy, special editions or steel books or anything. Just good old fashioned Dawn of the Discs, recommending things that are like cheap on Amazon right now for Black Friday deals. And I got a couple good ones. Recently covered Place Beyond the Pines,
Oh,
did the
yeah.
4K upgrade from Shout Shout Studios or whatever. And what we went on at great length about this movie. I love it. And to get a good deal to upgrade, I'm like, I can't pass that up. And if Shane's listening, the pile of movies that I have to give to him continues to grow as I have doubles of everything. And speaking of the Criterion sale and Twin Peaks, dude, I mean, we'll get to Twin Peaks later soon, but I just brought my Twin Peaks The Complete Mystery up with me. But when I had it sitting in my living room, I'm like, that Twin Peaks The Complete Mystery has Fire Walk with Me in it. Plus, I
Hmm.
have my Blu-ray of Fire Walk with Me. Plus, I have the 4K of Fire. I was like, I have triples of Fire Walk with Me sitting in this room right now. I'm
I'm
like,
sure Lindsay's very happy about that.
oh, listen, she's like shutting off this episode right now because she didn't even put that together when those were all sitting in one room. It is like a disaster. One other Dawn of the Discs, Amazon just I thought about getting this when it came out. I didn't. I think you and me at least talked about it. I thought we talked about it briefly on the show. Maybe we talked about it off mic, but I did pick up Steven Spielberg's The Sugarland Express.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
we watched, or we
also,
talked about that briefly, I think. Yeah.
yeah, I think so too. Just a 4K release. I think both of us watched it for the first time this year, right?
Yeah, I think it was around our Jaws episode we talked about it.
Yeah, and I was really into it. Of course, you see all of the makings of what Spielberg would go on to bring to the
Hmm.
table with his movies going forward. But when I saw again, there's just certain ones that'll probably sit on my wish list forever. And if it's not like a special release, then who knows? It might sit out there forever. But if there's a good deal to be had, Keith, I'm not letting it pass me by.
That's a bummer that the Place Beyond the Pines didn't come with a slipcover.
I know, but you know what? I'm not getting broke up about it, okay?
I did see after we recorded our episode a bunch of other people talking about it because I think it came out shortly after, and we didn't even have, or at least I didn't have any idea that that was coming out.
No, I mean I just put that when we made a loose schedule for the year that we've um, you know moved off of at times, but most of that list has stayed intact. I mean that sat on the initial list. I mean, I don't know, I
Hmm.
probably wrote down 15 to 20 movies that I felt like we should try to do this year and that was on the list. And I'm not really sure why I was trying to pick movies that I felt like were for both you and me, but for some reason I was just like Place Beyond the Pines I love and I
Yeah,
feel like it needs to be on the list.
yeah. Have you been following the Shout Factory, Scream Factory stuff that's going on?
No, please enlighten me.
So they got bought by some other company or merged with some other company. I can't remember the name of it, but
Yeah.
their website shut down and they laid a bunch of people off and they were having all these sales and stuff. And
Hmm.
it was kind of controversial on YouTube and Instagram movie world. People were making videos thinking that Shout Factory and Scream Factory were closing down, but
I
what
did
ended up
see.
happening?
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean I did see that there were some people reacting to things, but I didn't know what it was all about.
Yeah, that's what it was. Basically, they're just selling all their stuff on Groove now, and I think places like Diabolic DVD and Orbit DVD might not be carrying their stuff anymore, which is kind of weird and a bummer, obviously. But yeah, I mean, if there's any like older Scream Factory, Shout Factory stuff that you want to get, you might want to get it sooner rather than later, I guess, just
So
because
wait,
who knows what's going to happen with reprints and stuff now.
is it only available on Groove, or are they still operating their own site or anything?
As far as I know, you can only, like online, the only
Yeah.
place to order is Groove. And
Okay.
maybe you might be able to find stuff on Amazon still too, but yeah,
I
not really the situation.
have always I've got a bunch of stuff from Scream Factory and Shout Factory, especially like that Shout Select stuff, which is like what Place Beyond the Pines is, but it's just random. Like I wouldn't say there's ever been a time where I've been like following what they're doing closely. It's just certain stuff would be available, and I'm like, oh, nice, and it's Shout. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
it's definitely not. It's not a label that I ever followed super closely, but I'm happy with all the stuff that I have that they put out. You know?
Yeah, yeah. It was a big deal on YouTube and stuff, but obviously people make a bigger deal out of it than it actually ended up being. But
Sure.
it does kind of suck that their website isn't there anymore. And apparently, I've heard mixed things. Like some people are saying you're not going to be able to get their stuff like through the typical orbits and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I'm still like not happy because I had a whole experience where I was trying to get the Thanksgiving like 4K. I don't know if it was like a steelbook or some sort of special edition, and I won't name the website, but it said they had one copy left, and I ordered it, and then they just and the payment
Canceled
went
and
through, and then
refunded.
yeah, and I was like, that's a damn shame. It's just like update your inventory, will you?
Yeah. Well, one other big thing too is I don't know if you heard about this, but there's rumors that Netflix might be buying WB, which would be a
I
bigger deal because that's
yeah.
like, will their movies end up in theaters still? Will they do physical media? Like WB has like, I think
Oh yeah.
Eyes Wide Shut is a Warner Bros. Yeah, it is. The Warner Bros. Logo's on there. So like, thank God this got put out because who knows if Netflix would have bought them if they ever would have actually put it out.
Yeah, I mean, I know that. I mean, it's kind of weird for us to get into the space of, talking like big business, but I know obviously like Warner Brothers and Discovery like came together. They take HBO Max, rebrand it as Max. Then all of a sudden, they're just like, all right, this isn't working. We're basically going to split the brands again, and
Mhm.
Max is going to revert back to HBO Max, which Letterbox had like one of the best jokes that was so applicable to me because I was actually like I use tags very sparingly on Letterbox, but I do like I'll put Netflix or theater, and I did have some that I was logging as HBO Max when it switched to Max. So then I logged a bunch of shit as Max, and now I'm back to logging it as HBO Max again. But like Letterbox did just like a little, I don't know, a little graphic about like whatever, like HBO fading off or fading back into the Max part of it in tags, and I was like, oh, that's funny and wildly applicable to me.
Yeah, whoever
So
decided to change the name to Max should be fired. That's like a
well, they may have been. So
yeah.
yeah, so now I know that things are being shopped again, and there's talks of a few big buyers out there. But yeah, Netflix. I mean, look, overall as a brand, they've done great things. But if you're in the physical media space, that ain't exactly the world that they're pushing forward.
Yeah. I mean, they've done some stuff with
Hmm.
Criterion actually. Like they put Marriage Story out and like some of Guillermo del Toro's most recent movies,
Yeah, and why am I
like
blanking? Also,
Pinocchio.
Scorsese's movie.
Yeah, The Irishman.
Yeah, The Irishman.
Yeah, so they it's not like they're not putting anything out, but the likelihood of like everything getting put out is
Yeah,
would be much slimmer, I think,
I
if
don't. Yeah, I don't think they're keeping up with the pace that you and I need.
yeah. Although that maybe that would be good for my bank account and maybe your and Lindsay's relationship.
Yeah, I know it really is a problem. I feel every time I feel like I slow down, like more stuff happens that I'm just like, no, I need that too.
I know there's so much. We just talked about Shout Factory. They put out Hard Boiled, an old John Woo movie that I like really like. I have it on DVD, but it was like some special edition that was like $50, and I had to like stop myself because I was like, I bought too many Criterions already, And then because of all that stuff that was happening, it was like it went out of print and now you can't like find it now already. And I'm like, God, I should have just bought it when I had the chance.
Yeah, well, I pre-ordered for the Vinegar Syndrome sale, the cinematograph at close range, which by the way, I also do have a Blu-ray that I bought in like the last year. But again, it was like the Breathless situation. It's like a movie that I love. It's like Madonna's Live to Tell is featured heavily throughout the movie. Just an absolute jam. You're just like, this song just like screams 80s. It's great. And cinematograph, I mean, they just keep putting out movies that are like specifically for me. I mean, half the stuff that they put out, I have no idea what it is. I've never heard of it. And then like half of it is like, it's as if they're asking me what I want them to put out.
Have you made it to that Vinegar Syndrome store in Pittsburgh yet or no?
I actually haven't, which is a damn shame.
Okay. I'm just curious because Cinematograph is like a sub-label of theirs or they work with them or whatever. I don't
Yeah,
know what their agreement is, but I'm wondering if they have just like all their stuff there. That'd be sweet.
probably. It's it's gonna be it's gonna happen, and Lindsay has expressed interest. One of the things is like the hours, and we've been busy on the weekends, so it just hasn't happened yet. But
Well, the next
listen,
time I'm in Pittsburgh, we're going.
oh, definitely, and there will be and maybe it'll be after the holiday season, after things like cool down after Christmas, and I don't feel guilty about spending money on myself. Um, we'll go and I'll do a little bit of a haul, and then I'll do the haul in the opening segment of the show.
Okay, sweet. Well, do you have anything else to talk about? Or
Nah,
should we
let's
get out of here before the non-physical media people tune out?
please.
All right, Matt, to start off this Thanksgiving feast, we're going to talk Twin Peaks, a show that you've tried to get me on board with for a while. I'm not like the biggest David Lynch fan, as we've talked about in the past. I like his stuff. I'm definitely warming up to his stuff now, but we're finally doing it.
I listen. I've tried for a long time. You've been reluctant, and I don't like to force things on people. Like if it doesn't take, especially David Lynch stuff, because it's so weird. And I mean, it's sometimes there's so many different versions of his work. Like it's weird is the one word that always pulls it all together and remains true no matter what. But like, it's different versions of weird. This was a television show on network TV, so it's actually surprising how weird it is at times. But I love it, and
I'll
yeah,
say from my perspective, this is one of the least weird of his stuff in
sure.
general. I think it's the easiest to follow. Like just the fact that it's like the main thing is just like this murder mystery
Hmm.
in this town full of weird characters is like I think it's easier to follow this than it is Eraserhead or Lost Highway.
Definitely. I mean, it was made for mainstream audiences. Whether or not at a certain point you agree that it's palatable for mainstream audiences is to be debated, but it was made for mainstream audiences. So, yeah, to that point, certainly. Now, it does get weirder and weirder from the pilot on, like
Yeah,
um
as discussed before, I've only ever made it maybe 4 or 5 episodes in before I've given up each time. And I think it's probably been like at least 6 or 7 years since I last tried. I want to say the last time I tried was on the way home on the plane from when we visited Seattle and then visited all these locations from the show.
that's right. So not only was I like trying to get you to be a fan, which by the way, I'm holding up my Blu-ray, the entire mystery set, which is inclusive of seasons 1 and 2 of the show and Fire Walk with Me, the movie, and 90 minutes of deleted scenes from Fire Walk with Me that was released at one point as the missing pieces. That was only released like in the last 10 years, something like that. So it was kind of like big news when that happened. But then there ended up being a season 3 after this, which I have in the other room. The amount of Twin Peaks merch in this household, I mean, Keith, is it's shameful. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
And yeah, not only were you were so reluctant that I was like, we need to go on vacation, and as part of that vacation, I'm gonna drag everyone, even though I'm the only fan of this show, out of this group of people going. We're all gonna go to several Twin Peaks filming locations, including eating at the Double R Diner and going to the falls, the waterfalls that are featured prominently, and
Next to the hotel, right?
yeah,
The
and we
Great
went. If you
Northern.
remember,
Yeah.
we went into the. It's actually like a spa now, but
I
I don't.
remember going in the gift shop though and
Yeah,
see they had a ton of Twin Peaks merch and stuff like
that's right. Yeah,
coffee cups and posters and stuff. And
in I have just like a little, like, I don't know, 8x10 or postcard size little graphic that just says "damn fine coffee." I mean, it's just framed up in our kitchen that I bought from that gift shop.
we went to the diner too, right? Didn't
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
it was awesome.
Hmm.
It was a great trip, very memorable trip for me. I'm not sure about everybody else. I did. It was actually when I first started dating Lindsay that we were out there together, and I had somebody. I don't know if it was you or somebody we were with. I was standing kind of with my back to those waterfalls, and I was wearing my "Who Killed Laura Palmer" T-shirt with the
Hmm.
waterfalls in the background, and I sent the picture to Lindsay, who I think had started watching Twin Peaks with me. You know, I dragged her into that world as well, and I
Hmm.
sent her that picture like, "Oh, hey, isn't this fun?" Like wearing that T-shirt in front of the waterfall, and she just writes, the response back is just, "Do you think you're the first person to think of that?"
You're like immediately getting on one knee.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. She had me at that point. All right. So I know you've made several attempts at this. I know I'm only going to be somewhat heartbroken if you can't get into it, but I think you tried to go into this with an open mind. I know it's something that you like. Maybe you like the idea of being into it, but you haven't been able to get there yet. So, just your reactions, feelings, trying to watch this pilot episode again.
Well, I'll say by the end of it, I definitely was like clamoring to get to the next episode. Although I haven't gone to the
Yeah.
next episode yet, mostly just due to time and whatnot. But I mean, I definitely I feel like just in general, my taste has changed a little bit, and I'm
Mhm.
like more open to the weird stuff. This might sound weird, but one of the big barriers for me the last few times I tried watching it was like the music. For some reason,
Oh,
I hated like the '80s like piano music. It just was like so off-putting to me. I don't know. It just
mm,
felt like a cheap late '80s, early '90s TV show, and like I guess maybe some of the humor I wasn't really catching on to. But now after watching some more of his movies, like revisiting some of his movies again, um, I definitely am more open to going forward with it. And I will say, Chris might even be down too because
whoa.
just the one scene where they're at the lockers and the kid does the
Yeah.
dance.
Yeah.
She was like, "I'm in." She loved that.
Because it's just so weird, right? Like,
Yeah, and there's so much stuff like that. Like I like laughed out loud at the chocolate bunnies bit.
yeah.
Like
Which,
I'm holding a box of chocolate bunnies. I was like, "What the fuck?"
by the way, that scene actually like plays. They like go back to that in Twin Peaks: The Return. Like that scene with the chocolate bunnies like plays a key kind of part, which is, it's weird,
Yeah.
but yeah. Listen, if you, I mean, if you thought my physical media problem with Twin Peaks ended with movies, I have, I don't know, Twin Peaks season 2 on vinyl, the soundtrack to it. I have Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, the soundtrack on vinyl. They put out 2 records for Twin Peaks: The Return. Got them both.
Hmm.
So I love the music. It is, yeah. It's they were going for this. I mean, I think it's good and catchy anyway, but they were going for this like melodramatic, the soap opera type thing. There's this movie that influenced David Lynch called Peyton Place. And it was also a TV series, and it was kind of a similar. I mean, not necessarily like a whodunit murder thing, but like the idea of a small idyllic town and in the underbelly and like kind of these dark things happening to like high school kids and just the interpersonal drama that's going on all around town and maybe some of the darkness there. And that really had a big influence, but it had this kind of melodramatic vibe, and that's a big part of the atmosphere of Twin Peaks. But it's just such this blend of things. Like, there's parts of this pilot episode where I feel like it's as serious and reminds me of like Silence of the Lambs, but then there's other parts where it's like goofy, and then there's other parts where it's over the top. Like,
Yeah, it kind of was making me think of this show that I watched on Netflix. I think it was originally like an FX show called The Killing,
yeah,
which
yeah,
has a very similar like setup at least and kind of plot points.
yeah,
But that show is very much like a detective like trying to figure out, and it's just played straight serious. Whereas this, there's like a lot of absurd, weird David Lynch stuff in it that just kind of like makes it different.
yeah. Well, but there's like a lot of people accuse Lynch of doing things that are weird for weird's sake, just for the sake of
Yeah.
making people scratch their head. But I think a lot, and I'm not saying I've been one of those people at times. I'm not completely discounting that. But the more and more you dig into some of these things, like even the kid doing the little dance thing, when you watch that scene, it's staged like very specifically. It's almost like he's doing this like transition, because as he comes out of the I hit my mic. As he comes out of the shot, out of the frame, in the background you see two police officers kind of like walk by, and it's almost like before he does that, the shot's on like these high schoolers in the foreground, and it's like this transition of like the high school world, and now this death happens, and like, you know, it's the police, and it's just kind of this specifically shot sequence that's emblematic of, we had a world here and now we're shifting into something else. Something has happened and now this story is starting.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like something I was noticing on this watch is there's just like a lot of contrasting characters and a lot of contrasting stuff. Like you're saying, like there's very serious stuff, but then there's also this weird stuff. But that happens with the characters too, where there's like the sheriff who mostly plays it pretty serious and normal, and then FBI agent Cooper, right?
Yeah.
Who is just this bizarre, like overly optimistic, like gung ho guy. But he also has a side to him that's like a very serious, very good detective too.
Yeah. I mean, I think Dale Cooper, Special Agent Dale Cooper, is one of the best television characters of all times, and Kyle MacLachlan's performance of him is just so great, because he just can seamlessly go in and out of being this deadly serious agent to just being this charismatic, hopeful, you know,
Just goofy guy who's obsessed with pie and coffee. I love it though. I'm definitely more into it this time for sure. Like, have you ever seen the movie The Iron Giant? There's a character in that movie, which I think I knew when I first saw that movie, that he was kind of like a ripoff of Cooper. But thinking about it again now is like pretty funny.
You told me about this before, so I've still never seen The Iron Giant all the way through. But ever since you told me that, which was several years ago at this point, I have wanted to rewatch it just for that reason, because you told me that there is a character in The Iron Giant that's very similar.
All right, well, we got our homework assignment now already, because I that watching Twin Peaks has put me in the mood to rewatch that movie, so I'll assign that to you for homework. Little tease.
So this is a show that, and I have several of these things in my life, right? Like I have shows and movies that I love that I wouldn't necessarily like recommend to people, and like Twin Peaks is definitely one of those things, because it's just the people that love it, but it can be a reach. Like it can be tough for people. I mean, I've definitely had people in my life that like tried to get through like the opening scene or what, like when they first find the body and she's dead, wrapped in plastic, like, and it's just like they're like, oh, the acting is so bad, and I'm just like, I get it.
It's like it's kind of intentional though, right? Look,
I think they're going for a certain thing, and they execute that, and you can either deal with that or not. And like for me, it doesn't bother me at all. But I can watch it and understand why people think it's bad.
Yeah, I think it comes down to like your expectations and what you think the show is going to be.
Yeah,
Because I think when I first tried watching it the first couple times, I was thinking it was like more serious. But
yeah,
now I can see those moments with like the one cop crying on the phone
yeah.
and
Which is
like
also in the beginning. Yeah,
stuff like that that's just very very weird with
yeah.
a for a lack of a better word to use, I guess.
And look, I
But
mean,
that
it's not.
stuff is where like a lot of the comedy actually comes from now when I don't know what's changed, but like I do find that stuff actually really funny now.
No, I get it. I mean, it's sort of hard to find the lens in which to watch it through. Like,
Yeah.
and you can't. I just don't think you can. People just have to be able to get there on their own. Like if they're ever going to get there. And I think a lot of people are never going to get there with this type of
Yeah, like I
material.
feel like it's a thing that maybe we had talked about this in the past. Like you can't really talk. You couldn't really talk me into like wanting to watch it more because
Yeah.
it's just like you said. It's just you get the joke or you don't. I guess.
Yeah, that's totally right. And I look as the episodes go on with this show, and there's a lot of like peaks and valleys over 2 seasons. I mean, there's a time in season 2 where Lynch had kind of walked away from the show to, I think, go do oh, what the hell? What's the Nicolas Cage, Laura Dern one? Wild at Heart.
Hmm.
I think he left the show to work on that, and the show gets real rough. And I think one of the episodes that Diane Keaton directed, the episode that Diane Keaton directed, is one of them that's like in that stretch. And then he comes back to like kind of finish the show, and it gets like really good again. And
Hmm.
but the wave of this show is just insane because yeah, there's the melodrama, there's really like intense emotional stuff. I mean, there is a girl who dies. I mean, you do deal with like her parents and like the grief that they go through, and a lot of the show is like these characters like processing trauma. But all along, there's this weird, quirky, funny stuff happening, and then there is stuff that's just seems weird for weird's sake, and then there's supernatural shit that starts happening. And by the way, dude, there's stuff that like I thought is like downright scary in this
Hmm.
show at parts. I mean, there was times when I watched this years ago and it gets to a certain point and I like there were parts where I was like watching it by myself late at night and I was like, I'm scared. Like
Yeah,
um
I don't know if I was totally scared at this part, but one part that it was like kind of unsettling, and I don't know why, but the part when is it James or Jimmy, the motorcycle kid?
James. James
James.
Hurley.
So James, it's when they put him in the cell, and then Bobby and the other goon are in the cell across from them, and they just start barking at him.
Yeah.
I was like, "What the? What is happening? Like, this is actually kind of scary
Yeah, I
for
know. Well,
him."
because it even like the sound of it plays really weird. Like it's
Hmm.
again just heightening a scene that probably wouldn't be heightened that way if someone else was directing it. You're like, why are they barking at each other? It's absolutely insane that these dudes
Yeah.
would be doing that. Um, yeah, it's probably I think like an hour and a half long that pilot episode, and I mean, when I talk about it, I always say that it's like a top 5 all media things for
Yeah.
me. This pilot episode of Twin Peaks. You start off with the local girl who's dead. It sends shockwaves through everyone. The whole crux of the show is who killed Laura Palmer, and as the show goes on, I mean, David Lynch and Mark Frost, who created it with him and was a writer, they the plan was to like never reveal who killed Laura Palmer, and
And you're
eventually
saying
they
that
do.
doesn't. I think you alluded to this before in our conversations, but you don't actually find out until Fire Walk with Me, right?
No, they do reveal it like halfway through season 2,
Okay.
so it's a little bit of a stretch, and I think not that it's perfect all the time, but I think the show is great all the way through that reveal. And then after the reveal, there's a lull. Like they kind of tie up that storyline, and then there's like a lull. and then it comes back for like the end, and you're like, wow, holy shit! Like the the finale of season 2 is one of the best series finales of all time, but then it doesn't end up being the series finale because they do end up bringing it back 20 years later or whatever. But Fire Walk with Me is a prequel to the TV show, so you find out Laura Palmer, it's spending her last days with her, which does tie stuff back in to the series as well. The movie is completely tonally different than the show. Like any of that like quirky, goofy stuff is like not in it. It's like pretty dead serious. It's weird still. It's weird and supernatural, but like it's like super serious. But I love the movie. I mean, I've talked about it at length. I mean, the movie's probably like a top 10 movie for me too. And I think Cheryl Lee, who played Laura Palmer, like, this was never going to happen, but she should have won like best actress for it. I think she's like amazing in it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
I'm
very,
excited to actually work my way through it now. I don't know if you had much more you wanted to talk about, but I feel like this is something that we could probably bring back up again once I get through like season 1 or something, maybe.
yeah, that would probably be good. Well, we could just do random check-ins. I mean, if you stay with it, I'm always ready to dive back in. So doing the pilot was fun. I guess just keep me posted if you're watching more episodes because I'll watch them too.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there was an opportunity here to like do like some like mini show or something, but
Eh,
I don't know.
we're not there yet. We can
Yeah.
barely stay committed to our
Maybe on like
regular
a
stuff.
second viewing or something for me.
Yeah, but I'm glad you were more into it this time, and we'll see how far you can go.
Yeah. Well, I have this, so this is like a good motivation because I bought this.
Absolutely.
The whole Twin Peaks from Z to A.
And that
Um,
has Twin Peaks: The Return as well, right?
I think it has everything. Yeah, it
Yeah.
says includes all 3 seasons, Fire Walk with Me, and
Yep.
20 hours of special features. So
Yeah. Shockingly, that's a piece of physical media for Twin Peaks that I don't own, and I had to draw the line somewhere. Oh,
well, to be fair, if we're going to talk about physical media for a second, it is one of those chintzy boxes, so there's nothing special about the release. It's got like 50 discs in here, and they're all falling out and probably getting scratches and stuff. So it's not the best packaging, but
I mean, also in this house, I have like, I don't know, the book, Twin Peaks: The Final Dossier, which like sums up season 3, and there was another book that they did that was like the secret history of Twin Peaks, that was like all of the background of the town of Twin Peaks, which was written in getting ready for season 3. But I don't have the physical book of that, Keith. I have an audio book that I listen to in my car. Like on like a physical audio book, like the CD ones. Yeah.
hell yeah.
It's a problem. It's definitely a problem. So,
Okay, well, if that's enough, then we'll revisit this. I don't know. Maybe a next episode, maybe not. In the future we'll
at
revisit
some point
Twin
we
Peaks.
will. It'll be a B storyline for the show.
Okay, let's move on to the spotlight. All right, Matt, it's time to talk about the main course, Eli Roth's Thanksgiving.
In the years that followed the Quentin Tarantino Robert Rodriguez team up and previously covered Grindhouse, stories would continue to circulate around Edgar Wright and Eli Roth coming together on a sequel. The proposed idea would see the two of them bringing to life their spoof trailers, Don't and Thanksgiving. As the years went on, it began to feel less and less likely. And while it never played out the way that we had envisioned, we would finally get a theatrical version of Roth's holiday horror flick in 2023. While maintaining some of the spirit of its roots, Thanksgiving leans into the over-the-top violence of many of the kills, but stylistically it feels more like Kevin Williamson late 90s movies and less like Robert Rodriguez's Machete. In one sense, it's very Scream. There are plenty of recognizable nods to known horror films, and it makes an effort to capture an of-the-times teenage perspective. In another sense, I get very heavy I Know What You Did Last Summer vibes. Of course, the original I'm talking about from 1998. The parade sequence in particular seems almost plucked straight from it. So instead of feeling like the next entry in the Grindhouse saga, Thanksgiving stands apart as more of a horror comedy mystery combo. That being said, it manages to include most of the sequences from its humble beginnings as a very memorable trailer. Roth managed to stay loyal to the original material while adding in some fake outs that are both worthy of a chuckle and a better fit for the tone he ended up going for. Maybe the only personal bummer for me is I think it needed to be filmed on location in the real Plymouth, Massachusetts instead of Ontario. By no means does the location detract from the experience, but I think the authenticity could have added a little something. Regardless, it's 106 minutes of horror joy. Oftentimes in the genre, directors can do one thing very well, whether it be the kills, the suspense, the comedy, the theme, etc. And while Thanksgiving may not be a home run, it does in fact do many things well. There are as many laughs as there are shocks, and there's a couple of well executed suspense moments to top it off. I'm also always grateful to have a reason to work horror movies into other seasons where they don't normally belong. I thought we had it pretty great with Silent Night, Deadly Night for the Christmas season, but now we've got a companion piece for turkey and stuffing as well. Or, at a minimum, Keith, a true Black Friday movie. While the idea of people being completely insane for a Black Friday sale and trampling over other shoppers for some random hot item of any given year seems slightly dated, I still think it totally works. That idea never got much film representation in its heyday when it was occurring. Return to Videotech will forever be loyalist to the Grindhouse universe, and while Thanksgiving may not have come to life in quite the way we had hoped for, we credit Eli Roth for making something fresh with the material and still finding ways to stay true to its origins. It belongs on any list of alternative holiday movies from here on out. So let's dive in and leave no leftovers. All right, Keith. Sorry, a little bit of a wild intro today. My thoughts were pretty scattered as I was heading into it, and it's going to be a little tough with the notes because here's what I did. Normally, I'll write like just a list of talking points to keep us on track. For this one, I rented it because I couldn't get the movie that I tried to order. So we've had a couple days since I've watched it. I just wrote notes on my phone and then sent them to my email and put them on the document here. So it's just my raw notes. They are in chronological order of the movie, but it might be a little less organized than we're used to.
That's okay. I mean, the plot of this movie is, I would say, good, but it's not like the defining factor of the movie. I mean,
Yeah.
it's your typical kind of whodunit slasher. That's all. I mean, the plot isn't. There aren't too many twists and turns. I mean, there's like some red herrings here and there,
Definitely.
but yeah, I think the plot's pretty straightforward. So I think we can still have a pretty fun discussion without going beat by beat.
Yeah. So the movie opens up. We start off like Halloween style POV. We're in beautiful Plymouth, Massachusetts, which is actually Canada and not Plymouth, Massachusetts. But um, it's a fake out shot. Like, we're getting that POV like we think we're in the eyes of the killer. Although, is it a fake out? Because it's a cop and he's showing up at this house who's having Thanksgiving dinner. A lot of getting ready to go open the Right Mart, which is a great name for the store, which is just a local whatever. I mean, it's supposed to be like a Walmart type store,
Hmm.
but it's just a local non-national brand,
Hmm.
Um, it was bringing back some memories. I did work at I worked with Shane at a Hot Topic for one like Black Friday. Like,
This is news to me. I never heard this before.
yeah, just like he was running the store and he was like, "Hey, do you want to just come? We just always need people for holiday help." And at this point in my life, I was like pretty bored. This was like, during the time period where it's like, if I don't find something else to do, I'll just go to Ruggers for like the millionth time. Because that was all I did at that point in my life was work and go to Ruggers Pub. So in the south side of Pittsburgh. And yeah, no. And there was definitely, it was going to be that thing where the mall was opening at midnight or whatever. And um, we just kind of hung out beforehand and like went together. And it reminded me of that, like that weird buildup of getting ready to go work at a time when I really hadn't ever in my whole life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's funny, like you kind of hit on it in the intro a little bit, how the whole like Black Friday craze doesn't happen too much anymore, if at all. I think stores have those sales for like weeks long now, so that
Yeah.
stuff like that doesn't happen. But a few years before this movie came out, yeah, this stuff was happening. Like I remember working for the TV station and going to stand outside of Toys R Us,
Oh
and there
yeah.
was just people lined up on Thanksgiving night because, that job sucked and I had to work on Thanksgiving. But
Yeah.
it was, yeah, I mean, it didn't, by the time this movie came out, you're right, that stuff kind of feels dated, but for anybody who lived through it, it is commenting on something that I feel like was talked about a lot, actually. Like I remember sitting at Thanksgiving dinner tables before and being like, this sucks. Like I got to go to work
Yeah.
now. And like my family being like, this is lame. Like this is just
Right.
capitalist bullshit. Like
And
why do you have to go to work,
and this scene does remind you of that, right? And like that's the
Mhm.
only time I ever really had that, because I mean, I've definitely worked a lot, and I've worked on days when a lot of people weren't. But like that was really my only experience with like like it being like Thanksgiving evening and like getting ready to like go do a job,
Mhm.
and it is a weird feeling.
I mean, it's funny because it's almost like in some aspects, some stuff like that, I feel like people feel nostalgia for. Like me and my buddies used to go to like midnight releases of like Call of Duty video games and stuff, which is not the same as Black Friday, but it's similar. And it's just like I feel like this movie, in the slightest way, is kind of like commenting on that. How consumerism got kind of out of control for a little bit there.
Yeah. Well, were you ever a Black Friday shopper?
I had gone with my mom a couple times as a kid just to kind of appease her, but I was never like I didn't have money. I wasn't I wasn't going out to like buy the newest like cheap TV or whatever, but
Yeah. I don't know. I think the only thing I ever really did was like later in the day on a Black Friday, I'd hit like a Walmart or whatever just to check out like what DVDs were on sale.
yeah, I guess I would do that. And even though I literally just said I didn't do this, I am remembering now a time that I did go and buy a TV on a Black Friday. But I
Caught.
think like you said, I think it was like later in the day. It wasn't like I wasn't going to wait in line at midnight.
Well, look, for me, I do not like crowds. So there's
Mhm.
no, I would happily pay double or triple price for something than get it cheaper and be around people that are acting like this.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny how it plays out in the movie, but stuff like that actually did happen. Not to that level. Like
Yeah.
I don't recall hearing about tons of people dying ever at something, but you would hear stories about people being trampled and hurt and injured, like
Absolutely. Yeah. And just people acting insane and like fighting over
fighting
gifts.
over PlayStations or
Ugh.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, that stinks. I don't know what's wrong
Nintendo
with people.
Wii's.
I don't know. It's a real bummer that people get caught up in shit like that. And I'm not saying that there hasn't been stuff in my life that probably would have inspired me to at least be jealous or want something that somebody else was getting. I'm sure those things have happened. But I just can't imagine a situation where I would ever get aggressive with someone about something.
Yeah.
I mean, the closest thing I probably have to I'll give you like the closest thing I have an example to. Like Zach and I used to go to like record store days at midnight, and there was one year where there was the Jimmy Eat World Bleed American, which wasn't available at that time, just had like a record store day release, and I was like, oh, I should get that. That's on my list of things to try to get tonight. And we walked in, and it was there, and I kind of like had it right in front of me, and somebody reached over me and grabbed it, and I was just like, oh well, I didn't get it. Like it was a douchey thing, but it didn't make me be like, oh, I'm gonna slit this dude's throat. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I mean, so like okay, I didn't get it. I'm not gonna flip out about it, but
Yeah,
just
that sucks. But it also the thing that sucks most about it is the dude probably knew that you were clearly looking at it. Like,
well, you know what I think sucks? well, all these things, if you wait them out, though, it's like the movies. They get released again. Like I'm sure I still don't have that record, but I'm sure it's probably been re-released, times since then. Um,
Mhm.
but in movies too, you know what I mean? Like things go out of print and then they get released again, and
Mhm.
it's fine. Everything comes back,
Yeah.
but
To that point, though, I will say I think that's a cool thing about this movie is like it gives motivation to the killer that you find out later. Like you find out eventually that this is why he becomes the killer, and that's just kind of cool and interesting to me. I don't know.
either way, I love that they decided to make this like the premise. I think maybe it doesn't take you that far to get to, like, if you're like, oh, Thanksgiving, what we need, like, what would cause someone to like commit crimes over Thanksgiving? And it's like, yes, the Black Friday stuff and people just acting insane. I'm like, I think that's good. I totally,
Yeah,
even
yeah,
if it
that's what
does,
I'm saying. Yeah.
yeah, even if it does feel a little dated, I think it's great.
Mhm.
Um, so we meet a cast of characters. We'll talk about them as they get more in the mix. I didn't go crazy with making sure that I had everybody's name written down. It's not that important. Um,
I got
as long as
IMDb pulled up, so
yeah, as long as Keith and I can like know who we're talking about, I think it's fine. Uh, Crazy crowd sitting outside of the Right Mart, just over the top Massachusetts accents all over the place. I love it. It's just I lived in Massachusetts. The Massachusetts accent is a real thing for sure,
Mhm.
but like the way that it gets like overdone in movies is just
the the
crazy.
the one that gets it for me is Lonnie. He's the guy from the opposing high school
Yeah.
who's like yelling stuff at them as they're like getting into the right mart or whatever. And then he comes back later on, but his accent specifically was reminding me of Eli Roth's character
Yeah.
in Inglorious Bastards. Like he has that same inflection in his voice.
Teddy fucking Williams.
Yeah. He went fucking yard on that one.
Yeah, no, I mean, you knew me probably, I don't know, a year or two after I moved from Massachusetts. Do you remember me ever sounding like this?
No.
I mean, like, listen, don't get me wrong, it's definitely a thing, but it's like it's Pittsburgh has the same thing where it's like there is sort of a extreme Pittsburgh accent, but you really only hear like a small percentage of people that really have like the real cartoony version of it.
Yeah, same with Philadelphia, I've
Yeah.
noticed. I've only heard a couple people with the Philly accent and a couple people with the Pittsburgh accent.
Yeah. Like it's there and it's there all the
Mhm.
time, but like the movie version of it is just so insane.
Yeah.
Um so we start meeting the kids that we're going to be following through the movie, and like I said, I do feel like part of this feels very Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer, because it's like it is about this group of teenagers and it's very
Mhm.
like capturing the essence of teenage culture of the time period. Cell phones and social media heavily in the mix for this movie.
Yeah. That's one thing that I definitely want to commend Eli Roth and the other writer for. What's his name? Jeff Rendell, which this is kind of an interesting fact that I learned from watching some of the special features. This Blu-ray has some really cool special features. So this dude who co-wrote the movie, Jeff Rendell, he was actually Eli Roth's childhood friend. They knew each other since like kindergarten, and
Mm.
they were making home movies when they were little kids, and they put some of those home movies on the Blu-ray. So when you get it, watch them.
Oh,
They're pretty cool. Yeah, it's awesome. Seeing like little Eli Roth and Jeff Rendell like make these little like rip-offs of Texas Chainsaw Massacre and stuff. It's pretty cool to see actually.
that's amazing. Okay, that makes me now I'm bummed that I didn't get this damn thing.
Yeah, well, definitely check those out when you get it. I'm sure whatever. Did you order the Steelbook or and it just
N-
didn't show up yet or?
No, I mean I tried to get the steelbook and that's what was out of inventory.
Oh right, yeah, it's sold out or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
anyways, but I
yeah.
did want to just commend both of them for. I feel like sometimes when like if you go back and watch Eli Roth's older movies, like he was pretty good at like writing teenage characters, like in Cabin Fever and stuff.
Hmm. Yeah, true.
Um, I feel like you would think that now this is like 30 years later, maybe he wouldn't be as good at like writing teenage characters, or they wouldn't feel authentic. To me, these teenage characters feel authentic, and I just think that's like kind of a hard thing for older writers to do.
Listen, I agree, and I actually think the actors are mostly pretty good too. Not all of them, but like particularly the kid that plays Evan, who's kind of like the tough friend. I don't know what it was. I'm not saying that like I'm not like, oh man, I can't believe he didn't get nominated for best supporting actor that year. But like I just really bought him as just like a regular high school jock dude.
Yeah. I mean, contrast it to the the remake of I Know What You Did Last Summer, and those people were terrible. Like this,
Yeah,
these characters are at least believable.
for sure. Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. So there ends up being a run on the store, and the hottest product on the market in this year is these waffle irons, which is obviously a joke, and it is pretty funny. That's the thing that people are like fighting each other over. But a security guard gets crushed under the door, and then the real tragedy. Um,
Your
someone
girl
who I
Gina.
hold, yeah, someone who I hold very near and dear to my heart, the legendary Gina Gershon, who the movie opens up and she's in it, and you're like, oh, this is great. I bet this must be a masterpiece if Gina Gershon is in it. And then within the first 10 minutes, she's killed, and you're like, this is horrible. I need to get out of this right now.
Yeah,
Um,
she does a really good job. She's only in the movie for a little bit, but it's cool seeing her in here for sure.
and the other big thing that happens is Bobby, one of the kids who's a successful college baseball player, his arm gets stepped on. It's disgusting. uh, but it is hilarious too because it's so obviously not real looking.
Yeah, it's one of those like fake rubber arms that's just
That
like
is
totally bent into a U shape.
like I don't think we've ever seen anybody's arm break like this. I've seen a lot of sports injuries in my time. This doesn't seem possible.
Dude, the one that gets me is the person that's like in the crowd and gets pushed through the door with the broken glass, and the broken glass like slits the guy's throat as he's being pushed through. That one
Yeah.
grosses me out.
So it was a through line for me in the intro, and we'll talk about it a few times as we go through this because it is interesting that what this movie came from because it's the grindhouse stuff, and definitely the kills are very grindhousey, but I don't think the movie feels like it's going for that same grindhouse machete vibe. But like,
No, yeah, I actually watched the movie with the commentary on with what's his name, Jeff Rendell and
yeah,
Eli Roth, and he talked about they used the same director of photography as Hostel, and they
mm,
were just kind of praising because I agree. I think this movie like looks great. I didn't look up to see if it was shot on film or not, but I don't think it is, but I think for like a digitally shot movie, this looks great. I could be wrong. Maybe it
yeah.
was shot on film, but
It looks digital to me, but as I actually just rewatched The Holdovers last night, which for those of you who don't listen to the show regularly, which, you know, don't tell us if that's the case, but I did like I had brought up at one point how I feel like I can tell, and then you had told me that like The Holdovers wasn't shot on film, but they digitally tried to make it look like it was, and I was like, oh, I had no idea. So
yeah, no, yeah, that was a discussion we had. But I just googled it real quick. Thanksgiving was not shot on film; it was filmed digitally, but it looks
I, bel
great.
I believe I had that one though. I
Yeah,
told you I could tell. See, I do have an eye for these things.
yep.
Um, so at the end of all of this mayhem in the store, we just get Thanksgiving written in blood on the screen, and it looks great.
Awesome text treatment and logo. They talked about it in the commentary. It was heavily inspired by Silent Night, Deadly Night. It kind of opens
Yeah,
similarly.
definitely. I know. It's awesome. That's what it reminded me of that.
Hmm.
Um, and then we get 1 year later. So obviously a little bit of chaos in the wake of that Black Friday sale, and you would think that this would have a weird impact on a town. So this, I mean, I've been to Plymouth a few times. I was there as recently as a few years ago. Um, and it's a okay size town. Definitely, I would say bigger than like where you and I went to high school. But like,
Mhm.
is just trying to imagine the impact that this would have on a local community. I mean, there's a little bit of that, but there's definitely like, I don't know. It doesn't feel like there's this big thing that hangs over the community. We definitely see the individuals who are impacted, but I think people were trying to put it out of mind.
Yeah, well, that's kind of one of, I don't know if you'd call it like a subplot, but it's like kind of a point of contention between Jessica, the main character, and her dad, and I guess some of the other characters, and her dad, who's played by Rick Hoffman, who was also in Hostel. He's the guy who like shows up as one of the torturers, which is like my favorite scene in that movie,
Oh
actually.
yeah, yeah, that's right. That is a cool scene.
But yeah, that's like one of the things. It's like, well, this crazy thing happened last year. Why is he not shutting it down? And it's just like part of the commentary on capitalism and how it's kind of bad sometimes.
Yeah. Um, and John Carver, which this is one of the things that works great for this movie. I mean, I'm pretty sure there is a Carver High School in Plymouth. I mean, maybe we even played them, like my high school in Attleboro, Massachusetts. I remember there being a Carver. I never would have like put it together of being like John Carver, but how well that works
Yeah.
in
Well, that
terms of
guy apparently he was a real historical figure
yeah,
too. They talked about that a little bit.
and how well that really works to be like the villain, and there's a
I
little
mean,
bit of a V for Vendetta type thing happening here.
well, like just carve the name Carver just sounds mean. It's cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then like carving the turkey. I mean, it's just
Carving
all
people up.
it all worked. It's great. You're just like, wow,
Uh-huh.
I can't believe how perfect this is.
Yeah.
Um, and they're giving these masks out at the diner for some reason. Like, I don't know why that would be, but um,
The
and
mask
we
is
see
very cool too, by the way, in my opinion.
totally,
I just
totally.
like the mask, yeah.
And there's this local historical landmark building that's been vandalized and an axe has been stolen. So all the, we get the masks at the diner, an axe has been stolen. Like, okay, uh, the table is being set, Keith, for where we're heading. And right on cue, all the kids who I think are at the diner, they all get tagged in an Instagram post and it says the table is set. So,
Mhm.
um, a little warning. And isn't this kind of I know what you did last summer too?
Yeah, I mean the killer is like toying with his victims. He's not just going around killing people. He wants to fuck with them a little bit by doing this like live stream on Instagram or whatever and like messaging them all. It's like that part of it specifically feels very Scream-esque because that's what Ghostface does. He calls and tortures you like
Yeah.
mentally before he kills you.
I just was I don't know. I mean, the more I was going with this movie, the more I kept being like I always associate this, of course, with Grindhouse and the Grindhouse trailer and how great that trailer was and hilarious and awesome. But I'm like watching this and I'm like, this feels really like more of a throwback to the late '90s stuff. Like
Hmm.
it it doesn't look like that. It definitely looks different, but it feels like very Scream and it feels like very I Know What You Did Last Summer to me.
Yeah. I'm here for it
Um,
though. I love this movie,
no,
so
I know. I again, I don't. I think it's cool. I was trying to like express that I think it's cool that he was able to still have some of the Grindhouse feel in it with the kills and whatnot, but like
mhm.
also making it feel like this other thing and then blending it together in a product that I think just really feels fresh, but is also a nod to, you know, its roots.
Yeah, totally agree.
So we see this diner lady a couple times. She was in the sequence at Right Mart. I can't remember exactly what she does, but she was kind of being
I
obnoxious and maybe
I
caused.
think she's the one who actually hits Gina Gershon in the head with the shopping cart.
Okay.
Um, so I think that's
Whew.
why she's one of the first victims.
Yeah, makes sense. She has a line when one of the kids tries to order garlic knots, and she's like, This isn't Papagino's, kids, which Papagino's is like a regional pizza place in the Massachusetts area. I love a good regional reference, especially one that I get. But I for whatever reason, I love like regional products. Like I love New Glarus beer that you can only get in Wisconsin. You know, like
I
I
almost made you stop recording so I could go get a bottle opener for this.
what? Hold on, what do you
I
got?
have a new Glarus spotted cow.
Oh, you do.
Yeah, but I can't open it.
Keith, I am green with jealous rage right now because I would
All right.
love.
Well,
Do you,
we're gonna pause real quick so I can open this.
quick break.
Okay, so we're back. Speaking of regional items, I have this.
Please. Yeah.
My camera's not focusing.
I don't.
It's a
I, don't-
Corning, New York bottle opener.
I love it. Oh yes, I have one of those as well.
Okay,
I'm
continue.
not. Yeah, I'm not sure if this is gonna last until the next episode, but I'm just gonna tell you since this is mostly a movie show that is also about physical media, but also sometimes dabbles into craft beer. And I just want to tell you that I have some homebrew at the house right now that Lindsay and I made with a couple that we're friends with. The girl Lindsay used to work with, but they both used to work for Dogfish Head Brewing, and we brewed at their house, and they are very good. And we made this it's like like a Belgian wit beer that is we made it with cranberries and oranges, so it's very citrusy, but it came out like really good. Like I'm very pleasantly surprised with it, and I didn't feel up to drinking tonight, but I may have a glass of it if we have enough of it last until the next time we record. You know,
Okay.
not that there's anything visual to take in, but I will say, Keith, there's something very fulfilling about making beer and have it actually be good, because Lindsay and I have brewed several times and several of them have been bad.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust myself to make my own beer. Apparently, that can be kind of dangerous, right?
It's a
You can
delicate
really-
art. Well, you definitely need to sanitize. Like that's like the most unsexy part about making beer is like how much of it is you're just like, oh wow, so much of this is just cleaning.
Cleaning everything.
Yeah,
sounds,
it's just it's
sounds
a lot
not
of
fun. I'd rather just drink the beer.
yeah. No, I mean but like yeah, it can be a fun day though. You know, you're drinking while you do it and everything. It can be a fun day, but yeah, it's a nice feeling when you taste something and you're like, oh, we made this and it's actually good.
Kind of like when we do an episode and it's actually good.
I know that rare moment when that happens.
I'm like, holy shit, I just listened to the episode. It's actually good.
Yeah, wow, what a surprise. I didn't have that on my list of things that happened in 2025. Okay, so this diner waitress that we discussed is the first one to get it from John Carver. And another thing that I talked about in the beginning, I do feel like some of the suspense moments are pretty well executed. I think some of the characters have little fun chase sequences with him. Like, there's some characters that you feel like would be killed like pretty easily, and then they have like decent little chase sequences where they're like avoiding him and then eventually get killed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of them that I wanted to bring up with you, just because there's a fun fact about it from the commentary, is the sequence, which I don't know, we're kind of skipping ahead a little bit here, but the sequence in the high school that's when I'm trying to remember when exactly it is, but it's a quieter moment.
Yeah.
When there's just Jessica and the other couple, which I'm forgetting their names, but it's like the bigger jock dude and his
Evan.
girlfriend.
Yeah.
It's right after the football game gets canceled. So
That's
they're
right.
in there, and then there's the whole sequence where he kind of pops out around the corner, and then there's the chase sequence through the cosmetology class where you see all the like dummy heads.
Yeah,
which is
mannequin
an
heads.
awesome scene.
Yeah.
But the fun fact I wanted to let you know about that I heard in the commentary was that whole sequence was heavily inspired by Mute Witness, which we talked about on the show before.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
So yeah, they just said because of like how long and drawn out it kind of is, and how
Totally.
empty the high school is. They said that they were. I want to say he said that they were like watching that movie recently, and they were like, "We need to put a scene in like the opening of Mute Witness."
I know, and it sort of feels like it's still sort of towards it's more towards the middle than the end, like you're getting into the second half of the movie, but so you're like, can it be that she would have something happen in this sequence? But they build it in a way that you're really buying it because it is this long drawn out thing.
Yeah. And that's like another thing that was kind of reminding me of Scream too, because there's like a couple times in Scream when like you'll see Ghostface will run into Sydney, and you're like, well, if he kills her now, then there's like no plot left for the movie.
Right.
Where it's like the same thing where Carver runs into Jessica, and like Jessica is the final girl of this movie. So you're like, if she gets killed here, then what's the point of the whole rest of his plan of like setting the table and having them all there, you know? So it's almost like, what did he mean to like let her go? I don't know, but it's like a
Yeah.
minor, I guess, plot hole for me, but not.
Sure.
I mean, it
You
doesn't
could,
ruin my
yeah.
enjoyment of it, but
Well, maybe it's not a plot hole. Maybe John Carver just didn't have fully baked plans.
yeah, that's fair too. Yeah,
Um, my next note, Keith, literally that I wrote down just says more like Scream than Grindhouse. I think we've covered that.
yeah, yeah. Sorry for mentioning that so much, but it's hard not to like.
Well, when you think about where this movie came from, I just think you have a different like vision of what this is going to be.
Yeah.
Now,
And I guess we can go back and talk about the first kill because that's like shortly after where we left off before I just
yeah,
skipped us
please.
ahead.
Yeah,
But
talk about it.
that first kill with the lady with the shopping cart
Hmm.
who is working in the diner, which is where I think we were going before we got sidetracked.
Yeah.
That kill does feel grindhousey because it's like ridiculous.
Is that with the car?
Yeah, it ends
Yeah.
with the car
Right.
and her getting chopped in half, but it starts with her face getting put in like boiling water, I think,
Yes.
and then smashed against the freezer door,
Right.
and then her skin getting peeled off, and then she can't open the phone because the skin on her fingertips was peeled off too.
Yeah.
It's just like it's funny but gross and kind of scary at the same time. It's
Uh-huh.
very grindhousey.
For sure. And where it all ends with the car and the dumpster is absolutely insane.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous how she kind of just gets chopped in half.
Okay, so a year after we've had this horrible Black Friday incident, now we're approaching Thanksgiving again, and we've now had a brutal murder. And Jess's dad, who owns the Right Mart, I'm getting Mayor Vaughn vibes from Jaws. The store will stay open, Keith. Even though it's absolutely insane that there was a massacre at the store a year ago, and now people are dying again. It's like, well, we got to sell some of those waffle irons.
I already mentioned him before, but Rick Hoffman plays Jessica's dad, and he's not like a huge well-known actor, but I really like him from Hostel, like I said before, and I think he does a good job in this movie too.
Yeah, totally. So then we have Bobby meeting back up with Jess after ghosting her after the incident. He just completely disappeared. Now, they don't play it as heavy in the movie because it's not this thing, but I mean, this idea of this kid who's like gonna be a professional pitcher, basically, who's pitching in college and is like a phenom and having his career ruined, and now he's like, I don't know, working for a tow truck company over the summer or something. Like, it is brutal.
Yeah, you feel for him. And
And
he's
he
not
lost,
like the typical like asshole jock character. He's like a good guy, so you feel
yeah,
even worse for him.
and he lost his girlfriend basically to this Ryan kind of douchey kid who's, I don't know. I feel like the Ryan character is supposed to appeal to kind of you and me. He's kind of like everyman nerd character who's getting the girl, but he seems like a douche to me the whole time.
Yeah, I think at the start he's supposed to kind of appeal to us where yeah, he's like the opposite of the jock where he's like more interested in like doing good in school or whatever. But then as the story progresses, he kind of just turns into the red herring where you're like you think that he might be the killer. I don't know if when I first watched it if I ever fully thought that, But
Yeah.
they definitely try to get you to think that he's the killer at
Well,
certain
you said it.
points.
I mean, there's definitely like a lot of red herrings. I mean, at at some point in the notes, I just wrote a lot of suspects.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a lot of suspects. Um, so between the Bobby and Jess conversation, though, like it's revealed that the footage from the Black Friday massacre was deleted, inexplicably.
Hmm.
But there is still footage that exists.
Yeah, come to find out, and this is another kind of like negative thing about the dad is like he
Yeah,
had the footage the whole time, but he just didn't want to give it over for some reason because he thought it would hurt his business,
which
right?
I guess is what the fact that like this footage was deleted is why nothing happened to this diner lady who kind of killed Jennifer Gershon.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like tying up some plot holes, but yeah.
We get this long sequence with Tim Dillon, the comedian, who I definitely did not know at the time that I
Mhm.
saw this movie, but he was familiar to me. Do you know who he is?
I know who he is. I know he has like a big podcast. I don't
Yeah.
listen to it, but
Well, yeah.
I know
So
of him. I'm not like a fan or anything.
no, and I mean, look, I don't know enough about these people. I don't follow this stuff, but he seemed part of this whole new era of kind of douchey dude comedian bro podcasts that are
Mhm.
seemingly very popular now. That's probably
Mhm.
an unfair characterization, but the way I've only learned about all of these people in like the last year because I don't follow any of this stuff, but apparently, and I don't know that he was one of them, but apparently, like a lot of them were, very influential in the most recent election and stuff. Like starting with Joe Rogan, but like then
Yeah,
all these
like
other people.
kill Tony and people like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
and I don't know much about any of them. I've given some of it a shot just from random, whatever reels on YouTube or whatever they're called, and they don't seem like they're for me. But this this guy is good in these scenes. I will say he's funny in
Yeah.
this whole sequence that he has.
Yeah, Eli Roth talked about him in the commentary and how they were very impressed with his performance given the fact that he's not a traditional trained actor, you know. He does a good job. And he has a really funny line where he when he's scared and he comes out with the baseball bat
Yeah, yeah.
and he's like, "I'm a security guard. I kill people every fucking day."
I know. I like I said. I mean, don't know much about this dude's career, but he is great in this scene, and I think people would be like, "Wow, you're out of touch. This dude is like huge on the internet." And to which I say, "Yeah, blissfully out of touch."
Yeah.
But
That's just
to it,
further evidence, though, of like how pocketed everybody is now. Though we talked
yeah,
about this on the show before, like you can be entertained by like one thing, and it can be like the biggest thing in the world to you, but so many other people have no idea who they are. You
I
know?
know. Like people would be like, "Tim Dillon, he has like one of the most downloaded podcasts." I don't know. I'm making that up, but like, let's just say that, and I'd be like, "Oh, you mean the guy who was great as the extra security guard in Thanksgiving?"
Yeah.
The guy who gets decapitated in his apartment, right? Um, yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else that happens in that scene with him? I mean, he gets killed. It's just kind of like a fun throwaway
Yeah.
scene,
I mean,
but I enjoy it.
it's a good starting point for a quick sidebar conversation about how there's all these again leading to like the grindhouse, little bit of a grindhouse feel. He gets stabbed in the stomach with the electric turkey carving, whatever you call it, knife, which
Yeah,
is like one of many things like that,
definitely.
which is hilarious. And I guess just one other thing to note too is I love how after the killer, it, when he's leaving, he looks back and he sees the cat, and he goes and he
Yeah,
feeds the cat.
I know. Not sure what we're supposed to take out of that.
I mean, I feel like maybe it's just saying that like, well, that's like the cool thing about the killer being the cop is like, I think he has some sort of like moral code where he's like, I'm only gonna kill the people who had something to do with this crazy Black Friday
Yeah, yeah.
thing.
I get you're right. That is what you're supposed to take out of it. It's like, oh, this isn't necessarily an all around bad person. He's got an
Hmm.
he's got a, pardon the pun, axe to grind with a
Yeah,
select group of people. Uh
yeah.
boo. Um So now Bobby's getting back in good with Jess and he's like, hey, maybe we should investigate your boyfriend, Ryan, who's a douche and I hate. Um, and because they see him on the footage, they see the fact that he knows the other security guard. And for some reason, that's supposed to be damning.
Yeah,
I don't like, why is that some smoking gun that he was like shaking hands with that other security guard?
I was asking myself that same question when I was watching it. I'm like,
Please.
why is this evidence of him being the killer? I don't get it.
Unknown, unclear. But they notify the sheriff that Ryan knew that dude. And
Hmm.
I think the sheriff and us agree that that's not news.
Hmm.
This is, I don't know. I don't know what you want me to do with that. But I don't know. The sheriff is always, he's nice to everybody. So he's, I guess, just placating them or whatever. And he says some stuff to Jess that ends up playing up later on. They circle back to it. The Hanover kid that you mentioned with the over the top accent, he now coaches at Hanover High School, and we get a version of the trampoline scene, which is probably the most famous scene from the Grindhouse trailer, and they do it a little different than the trailer, which is probably necessary because
Yeah,
if you
I feel like
remember,
if they did it with what happened in the uh, original trailer, it would have been like NC-17 level rating.
totally agree. So they had to pivot, but so they changed several of the scenes from the trailer. They actually do versions of a lot of the scenes from the trailer, but they with changes.
Yeah,
And
the turkey
this,
getting his head lopped off, the turkey mascot.
yeah, which happens in the trailer too, but he's like dressed like a clown or something, right? In this movie.
Yeah, the dude who chops his head off. It's
Right.
still the
The
turkey
killer.
mascot who gets
Yeah.
his head chopped off. But
Right,
yeah,
right. But it's just different. And obviously they had to do this different. I mean, I don't think that the way they do it in the trailer was going over. And if you don't know what we're talking about, then go back and watch the Grindhouse trailer because it's definitely the most memorable moment of that trailer, I'd say.
yeah. It's
Uh,
still pretty gnarly what happens though. Like I
for
think
sure.
it's I don't know, just something about the way it happens. Basically, he sticks some sort of blade up through the cheerleader's jumping on the trampoline, and he sticks a blade up through. And first, it like hits her foot or something, and then it hits
Yeah.
her arm or something, and then ends up hitting her in the stomach. And it's still gross and seems
Ag-
awful. But
Agree that it's gnarly. I'm glad
yeah,
that they pivot because I don't think I could stomach the other version.
yeah,
It's funny. It's funny and goofy the way they do it in the trailer, but with this movie having a little bit more serious tone, I just don't think you can do that in any way.
yeah, yeah.
So we find out that the high school football game is canceled, and Evan and Gabby, who are the other two that you mentioned earlier, they get captured, and this is where we have that long chase sequence throughout the school, with which Jess, to your point, eventually escapes from.
Hmm.
We get a lot more of Bobby and Ryan having sort of a bro off with each other. They're constantly trying to turn Jess against the other one and kind of being like, well, it suspicious that he's doing this or what? Like they're both like getting in her ear that the other one is weird.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of that happening. There's this character, McCarty, who's also super douchey, who's having a party.
Yeah, I kind of like him though.
I do too.
He
Well,
has some funny jokes. Like they're like, "Would you be? What are you doing out here selling guns to kids?" He's like, "I'm not selling guns. I'm selling alcohol."
so right on cue, the kids show up to buy guns from McCarty.
Yeah.
Um, and while this is happening, uh, Yulia, the other girl, she's been taken. Like her dad had shown up and was like, "I'm taking you to Florida," which I actually love this random departure for her because I'm like, this is actually a great thing to throw into a horror movie that someone would just be like, hey, we're leaving. Like there's
Yeah.
deaths going on. It's just like we're leaving the state. He seems like some random rich dude.
Yeah.
Um, like I love that that's just in it
Well,
because
that's what the security guard's plan was too. If you listen to his dialogue before he
yeah,
gets his head cut off. Like
Yep.
he's
Yeah.
like talking to his cat. He's like, somebody's gonna come get you, and Daddy's going on vacation for a little bit.
Yeah. Every time there's like a death in the area, I like go to Lindsay. I'm like, hey, we should just go to Madison to visit Keith. We got to skip town.
There's safety here.
Yeah. But while Yulia is back at her house, she has a horrible incident where corn holders are jammed in her ears by the killer.
That might be my favorite of the like Thanksgiving pun kills.
Yeah.
I guess you could call them, with like the corn cob things in her ear. Yeah.
I didn't write down her boyfriend's name. He's got a nickname. I'm trying to remember. What is it?
Scooby or Scuba or something.
Scuba.
I think his name's
Yeah.
Scuba.
Yeah.
Interesting fact, another one from the commentary. Apparently, for some reason, Eli Roth had to get permission from, because some of these characters are like based on his childhood friends or people they knew or something.
Oh, wow.
And Scuba was one of them. So he had to, I think his name's Scuba. I could be getting that wrong.
No, that's right. That's right. I actually did write it down later. I see it in my notes.
But apparently they had to go find this person and get permission to use that name. I don't know why you would need to do that, but
Well, Scuba is the one that ends up getting the gun, and he's with Jess. For whatever reason, at a certain point, Scuba and Jess become like a bit of a team, you know?
yeah, he kind of becomes like, I mean, Jess is definitely like the final girl, but Scuba's like, he's like the protector kind of.
Yeah. And they just are paired up like a lot. It seems like, I mean, Jess seems like she's got a lot of fans in town because also McCarty is definitely into Jess too.
Yeah, because doesn't he I think he gives them the gun for free or a deal or something because it's just her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
That seems right. So Yulia is still under attack, and Scuba and Jess go to try to save her. They come close to saving her, but Yulia still ends up on a table saw.
Yeah. I do want to say that this is another one of those scenes though where the tension building is like great. Like it feels, don't want to keep saying it, but it feels like a sequence from I Know What You Did Last Summer or Scream, like where she's like trying to talk to her dad. Her dad has the headphones on and he can't hear her, and it's like this whole like chase thing, and it's in the high schooler's bedroom. It just feels very 90s slasher.
Agree. Totally agree. It's there very frequently, and we get more of it. I mean, my very next note after poor Yulia's death. So the store is finally closed. There's been enough deaths that like Jess's dad is like, all right, fine. we're gonna close. But the group decides that they're gonna plan a trap for the parade, and this is very similar to I Know What You Did Last Summer. I mean, I Know What You Did Last Summer, again, the original 1998 version. They have this there is a parade. They're also trying to like use one of the characters as bait and like trap the killer. And in that one, everyone's dressed like fishermen at the thing, and in this one, everyone's kind of dressed like John Carver or in Thanksgiving garb. And it's just, I'm like, this is uncanny. I mean,
It's exactly that scene. Yeah.
yeah. And to that point, Scuba and Jess have become a bit of a team, like we talked about earlier. And this is where we have another thing from the trailer where, as you hit on, the Thanksgiving mascot is decapitated with the axe. And it's amazing.
Yeah, this whole sequence is awesome. Like, it's just pure chaos. And it's, for some reason, I think it's really cool that the killer is dressed up as a clown here, because it kind of like throws you off balance. You're like, the whole rest of the time he's dressed as John Carver. But then for some reason during this parade, he has this creepy clown mask on. And he's like tossing gas grenades or like smoke grenades and like.
Yeah, you are a little bit like, well, where did this guy's arsenal come from?
Yeah. I mean, when you find out who the killer is, it makes sense.
Totally.
But, yeah, and then he goes in the back of the car and he like tranquilizes the three, and then one of the grossest, most grindhousey kills is the mast or whatever from one of the fake boat float goes through the back of the head of some guy, and then blood spurting on these two little girls sitting next to him, or little kids.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that's wild. But
Yeah,
it is laugh inducing.
for sure. Yeah.
Um, yeah. So their whole plan to trap, John Carver completely backfires because Jess Scuba, Jess's dad, and Jess's dad's girlfriend Kathleen are all captured. So like, did not work at all. Kathleen, who we haven't really talked about, she's played by Karen Cleese. So she was actually that actress was at the last Horror Realm Con I was at, and I walked by her little table a few times, but I don't know. I think I talked about this before. I can't. It's not specific to her. I can't bring myself to like talk to or take pictures with these people that are in movies and do these events. I don't know what it is. I know that's what they're there for, Keith. I can't explain it to you, but it,
No,
yeah,
I totally get it. I've never been to one of these conventions, but I wouldn't. It's not that I don't think that they deserve getting money after the fact.
yeah,
Like I think that if you're a super fan and you want to meet these people, there's nothing wrong with you wanting to pay money to go and get a signature and have a quick conversation with them. But like you, I don't think I would ever do it either, just because nothing against them. It's just not my personality. I wouldn't even know what to say. I'd just be like, I like you in this movie. Like, what else is
yeah.
there to talk about? I don't know.
Now that being said, I did pay money to get my picture with Darcy, the male girl from Joe Bob Briggs.
Yeah, but I mean, how deep of a conversation did you have with her, right?
Pretty deep. We were talking about different types of poetry that we're into, and so Kathleen tries to escape. She's being like, I don't know, salted and having butter put on her or whatever. And she has like a long kind of suspenseful escape sequence that I feel like is kind of unexpected, right?
It's cool, yeah. This escape sequence is really cool,
And
and
it's
just
weird that it's her because she's sort of been like villainized throughout the whole movie, but
yeah,
you're like in her perspective and you want her to escape. So it's
yeah.
sort of weird that it's her.
I think what happened was Eli Roth talked about this a little bit in that commentary again, and I think the original plan was to just have her be revealed as the human turkey,
Oh,
but
yeah.
somewhere along the lines they were like, we need to add another chase sequence or something here, so they decided to add this.
Well, I actually think this is the best one. I mean, the school is cool too, but I think this one is like the most suspenseful.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, because you think she's gonna get away. There's even like a moment where you think that she might have the upper hand. She's like hiding behind the corner with a bottle or something in
Yeah.
her hand, right?
Yep.
And he's like about to walk through the doorway, and she would have got him, but somehow he knew she was there.
I have a question for you, Keith, and it's probably a stupid question, but I really don't know. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Which girl is that in the fridge when she opens the fridge and there's a
I think
girl?
it's supposed to be the cheerleader from the
Okay.
trampoline.
I wasn't sure. I mean, I think so. That makes sense, and that would have been my guess. But I'm like,
Yeah,
she's like tied up and gagged, so it was kind of in like wrapped in plastic too, right?
yeah,
She's
yeah,
like Laura
yeah.
Palmer.
I feel like it would have been easier to figure that out if there was like a quick shot of him wrapping her up after the trampoline scene or something. Maybe I don't know.
So Kathleen almost escapes, has a pitchfork thrown into her back, and is promptly taken out, captured, cooked, and served for dinner.
It's awesome because it's like so gnarly of a kill or way to kill somebody, like putting him in an oven. But it's also so like Eli Roth jokey to have him stick the thermometer thing in her. And then at the very end, when she finally is like roasted and cooked, you see the little thing pop out. It's just like,
I know. Yeah. And that's where we're still getting this blend of like grindhouse and like just, more run of the mill horror because it's like there's definitely like deathly serious things happening and then there's like goofy things being just woven into it. So we're gonna have Kathleen for dinner. Everyone's sitting around the table all tied up, the people that are alive. The dinner is being live streamed. Again, the TikTok, Instagram of it all. And Evan is killed, just his head smashed, completely. This is gross. I mean, this scene around the table is mostly serious feeling.
Yeah, the head smashing is very like insane Lucio Fulci, like
Yeah.
wild Italian horror feeling to me. I don't know if you've ever watched any Fulci movies, who Eli Roth is a big fan of. Um, you might see that in some of his kills and stuff. I do also want to say too, the dummies they use here, like the
Mhm.
head of the security guard
Oh yeah.
and the the lady from the diner, those look incredible. Those dummies, those aren't CG. Those are actual practical dummies.
Yes. I totally agree. It looks this whole sequence looks really cool, and there's I don't know, it feels like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre like dinner scene. Like it's just
Hmm.
weird, everyone around the table, um, gagged, tied up, like headless bodies, the heads sitting on the table.
Hmm.
It's wild. And um but
Well,
Scuba,
one other thing that I
yeah,
wanted to just say also reminded me of another movie too. While
please.
this, I think it's while all this is happening, the SWAT team is showing up to the place where they find the signal where the live stream is coming from. That is very Saw 2. Like if
Yeah.
you ever saw, I think
I
it's Saw 2 or maybe it's Saw 1 where they find the. It's almost exactly the same
No,
thing
I think it's the
happens though,
second
right?
one. Yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
Saw
it's from
2.
Saw
Yeah.
2 where like the cops show up to like the place where some video feed is going and then they find out that it's just exactly how it's happening here in Thanksgiving.
Agree. Yep, I thought of that too. So we have Scuba and Jess again. They escape, so they're back together again, and they get into a little bit of a fight with the killer. I think Scuba gets killed here, right? Does
Uh,
he? Or do they
I don't
both
think
get
so. I
away?
think he
No.
just gets hit like in the arm.
Okay, yeah, yeah. But Jess escapes on her own, right?
Yeah, she escapes on her own, and then there's like a quick chase through the woods in the dark. And Eli Roth said about this again in the commentary that they had more planned here for this chase sequence through the woods, but they end up having to cut to black after she climbs over the fence or something because they just ran out of time. It was just a budgetary thing.
Yeah.
So I do remember thinking that that felt a little jarring when I saw it in the theaters the first time. How it goes from this chase out of the house into the woods to just she shows up where at the factory or whatever that is, the big empty industrial building, and
Yeah.
the police officer is on the ground, or the
Yeah.
sheriff.
It's this he's like bludgeoned.
Yeah, and you're kind of like, how did all this like a piece is missing here, kind of.
Yeah, yeah. Understand. Like why does she go there? I don't know why she goes there.
Yeah, and how she ends up. Yeah, it's a little, or I remember being a little confused by it, but
But that's where we are now. And
mhm.
she sees Bobby in I guess like this is like the killer's lair, right?
I I guess.
Um so Bobby, she sees Bobby, she thinks Bobby's the killer, but then the sheriff shows up after she just found him bludgeoned on the ground. So now everyone thinks it's Bobby. He's like, "Hey, wait outside. I'll go, you know, in and look for him." There's a bunch of shots fired. I think
Mhm.
he I think they just say Bobby got away.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um and then she's having like a little bit of an interaction with just the sheriff, and she sees the same debris on him that was on her from the little altercation in the woods when she tried to climb the fence, and she's like, "Oh shit, it's him."
Yeah. I gotta say, I don't know if I would have noticed that on him. It's literally like those little flower burr things you get stuck on your pants, but
It does
I
seem
don't
like
know.
a little bit of a reach. It feels like you could be wrong about this.
Yeah, yeah. But she's certain about it. She's like, this is definitely the guy.
And he kind of gives himself away like Bond villain style where he's explaining
Hmm.
everything.
Yeah.
And
She gets him monologuing.
yeah, and then she's, of course, once again live streaming. that
Yeah.
that's what he's doing, and that reveals that he's the killer, and he's got the upper hand on her though because he's, of course, experienced and scary and a trained professional. But Bobby shows up for the save,
Hmm.
and We do get the line. I think that was probably in the Grindhouse trailer of this year. There will be no leftovers.
Is that
Uh,
right before he gets blown up? I'm trying to remember.
yeah, it's. I mean, it's in that. It's right. He's gonna try to get the upper hand on them, and then they blow him up with an inflatable turkey.
Which is hilarious and awesome.
Yeah, it's great. But the cops find no body, Keith, and
That's right.
everyone's like, "Well, we think he was incinerated."
Leaving things open for a sequel, which I think they're working on now, right?
Yeah, and this
think.
there is a sequel in the works, but we do get one last thing. We get one more sheriff show up in a Jess dream. I'm not even going to say what it's like, but you could probably figure it out. And he's on fire, but then she wakes up and it was just a dream. And credits, and we cut to the song "The Misfits," "Where Eagles Dare," blasting.
Oh yeah.
Great credit sequence song.
And some really cool. I'm a nerd about like the graphics, motion graphics stuff. I like went to school to learn how to do all that kind of stuff. And I think the end credits or the beginning of them are really cool here.
Oh, absolutely. Just on the overall music front, I don't feel like if there's anything like lacking for Thanksgiving, I feel like it's kind of lacking a memorable original score or original theme or anything. I think the score's fine, but I just
Yeah.
I can't tell you that there's a tune or anything that gets stuck in my head or anything from this movie.
Yeah, I feel like it could have been cool if the killer had like a signature like flute song or something that played that's like something out of like The Patriot or something, like that would have been that
Oh
could have
yeah,
been a
that would
cool
be
little
incredible.
extra touch.
Okay, well, that was everything I had written down for Thanksgiving. Is there any other nuggets that you feel like we should include?
No, I think we pretty well covered it, and I'm pretty excited for the sequel. Honestly, I think
Yeah,
I loved this movie. I think it was one of the better kind of like modern slashers. We don't really get a lot of like high quality modern slashers, I don't
I
think.
agree. I agree. I think it,
Um,
like, I think it works really well in terms of like horror movies in the theater. To your point, like slashers, like the only other stuff of like recent memory for me was like the David Gordon Green Halloween movies, which I liked the first one, but I kind of like thought that they got like progressively worse. Um,
mhm.
and I just feel like this was like so much more fun.
100%. Yeah. I mean, nothing against I love like the whole elevated horror type stuff,
Yeah, yeah,
hereditary type stuff too. But I do feel like we've kind of like swung in that direction pretty far and now maybe the pendulum's swinging back, so maybe we'll get more movies like this, which can be
yeah.
fun. I don't know.
And obviously, like for you and me personally, all the stuff that feels like late '90s. I mean, that's our bread and butter in terms of like nostalgia for when
Yeah.
that those are the horror movies we grew up with. That's our
Yeah.
generational feel of horror movies.
I think there's a market for it too because even like younger kids nowadays are dressing like we did in the
That's,
90s and stuff. Like I feel like
did
just
they not?
culture in general is like going back to that time,
Yeah,
so I'm
people
here
are
for
people are dressing like that. Did they not get the memo that it was terrible then and it's terrible now?
it. Well, I'm sure it'll change in the next, couple years.
Totally. You want to know what? The one thing that always stays fashionable, no matter what, though, a tailored look. Okay,
A
so just
nice
stick.
brown blazer.
That's right, a brown cord jacket.
All
All
right, let's
right,
move on to homework. Speaking of brown blazers.
please.
All right, Matt. So continuing the kind of not really holiday themed. I guess Jack Frost isn't really Christmas themed, but kind of.
Yeah.
I asked you to watch Jack Frost, the horror movie, not the family comedy.
I was gonna say I was like really bummed that you had me watch this movie where Michael Keaton dies and becomes a snowman, and I was like, what a just a bummer. And I was like, oh no, this is different. My biggest surprise about this Jack Frost horror movie, let me just say this. I did like it quite a bit. Like maybe more than you would have expected me to, even.
I had an inkling that you actually would like it.
Yeah.
Because of how goofy it is.
Yeah.
It's very self-aware. It knows what it is.
Well, let me say this, and this is how it like how it ties into Thanksgiving. This feels like what I thought Thanksgiving would be like. And Thanksgiving is not really like this. It's like
Uh-huh.
partially, But and I like Thanksgiving for what it is, and I like the direction that Eli Roth decided to take it in. But like this is exactly the movie that I feel like if I pictured the Thanksgiving trailer from Grindhouse, like this is what I pictured the full feature version of Thanksgiving to be like. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah,
And
this feels like a Grindhouse movie that was made in, I think it was 1990.
no,
90,
dude, it's
oh,
97.
96.
Yeah,
I
and
didn't
I'm
even.
like, what the hell? I think it came out in 97 actually was like the release, but um I was like whatever it is, like let's say it's 96. I'm like the biggest shock to me is that this movie wasn't made in 1986. Like
Yeah, yeah.
it
I saw.
looks
I saw you write that on Letterboxd, and you got quite a few likes for it. That was a good take.
I'm like I don't understand how this is 1996, 1997. Like this is insane to me. Other than you're like, "Oh wait, there's Shannon Elizabeth."
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Like a couple years or before American Pie. You're like,
Uh-huh. For some reason, I thought that there was a nude scene with her in it too, but it doesn't. It's not really nude.
kinda.
It's like kinda, but it's not like topless, you know.
Yeah.
But that kill is ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, many of the kills are ridiculous. Um,
Just
the
loaded with stupid puns too. Like,
yeah, yeah. Like it's a movie that I at a certain point was feeling kind of bummed that I was watching it by myself because you could just feel like, oh, this is such a good movie to experience with others.
oh yeah, for sure. I was feeling the same because it had been a while since I'd watched it, and yeah, I think it would be so much fun to watch with a group of friends, like when you're having some drinks.
Totally. And I don't like, yeah, a bunch of stupid one-liners, definitely like over the top deaths, like a story that doesn't quite make sense, townspeople that are acting crazy. It looks
I
older than it is.
I do want to say though, for like we're probably making it sound like it's like a terrible movie. It's actually
No.
not though. I think it's actually pretty well made.
Yeah.
Considering all that stuff, like the snowman actually looks really cool. It's practical. Obviously,
Yeah.
they would have had to do it that way then, but like, yeah, like you said, like a lot of the kills are cool. Like, there's a lot of cool camera work too. Actually, I was noticing like they do a lot of things where like so the snowman can like turn into liquid and then return back into a snowman. And
Which
there's all these shots where you'll be like looking up from the ground from his position, but at when he's liquid, and it's just like there's all these like really creative shots and stuff in it. I think.
yeah, although the whole like turning into a liquid is like a weird slow process. Like
Yeah, he's like spraying himself through doors a bunch of different times,
there's
and
like the part where he's trying to do it to like the main cop and the cop's like in a bar or whatever and he just like starts like plugging holes along the side of the door or whatever. Like
yeah. There's one part where he turns into a puddle, and they know that that's him, or I think it's like right when they're starting to think that that's him, and one of the guys like shoots the puddle with a gun, like he's gonna do something to it. They're like,
yeah. My only complaint I felt like it just seemed like one of those movies where it kept getting to like what felt like the logical ending point and then
hmm
it like doesn't end and then there's more like there was several like faked out
yeah.
endings, right?
Yeah, and apparently there's a sequel, which I have not seen actually. But when I posted that I was watching this, some people commented on Instagram like, "Oh, you got to watch part two now." I was like,
I
"Okay."
I read something on the Wikipedia, so take this for what it's worth, but that like Gina Davis was married to some dude. I didn't recognize the name. I'm sure he did stuff. Obviously, he was married to a famous actress, but like that he was interested in doing this movie or whatever, and she read the script and she's like, "This is the biggest piece of garbage I've ever read," or something like that.
It is.
Um,
It's so silly, but it's very fun. Like a lot of the times when movies like this, or when I watch movies like this, they're bad and they're just bad. This
yeah,
one is actually pretty good.
and it's just really fun. Like, and
Yeah.
it the best way I can describe it is just like this is what I would have pictured Thanksgiving like wanting to be like.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was getting a lot of I mean, I guess just kind of from the premise, like it kind of reminds you of Child's Play a little bit because it's like this serial killer who is like being sentenced to death or something, and then he gets hit with some chemical, and then that fuses his body with with the snow, so that's why he's a snowman. So there's like a funny
Yeah.
scientific like sci-fi angle to like how he became this killer snowman. It's just I don't know. I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I also enjoyed the like FBI character too, who's just sort of a unassuming dick that's like
Yeah. He's like trying to keep it under wraps at first because he knows what's happening and he doesn't want the word to get out. And then there's a whole other aspect of the movie where it's like they're trapped in this town because of the snow or something. I don't know.
yeah.
I love it. I think it's hilarious and
Yeah, it's definitely something that I want to revisit again at some point, but I do want to watch it with a group of people because I was finding myself like chuckling to myself at times, but it's like, if you're with a group of people and like getting a more like atmospheric experience where, there's a little bit more shared experience, like
yeah, a
like
group would feed off that energy for sure.
absolutely. Thank you. I was struggling to find the words and you just hit it.
Okay, well, there's probably not much else to talk about with Jack Frost, right?
Yeah, I think, maybe it'll be a spotlight to someday.
I, I I wouldn't be opposed to that. I think
Yeah,
we
let's
could
not
do
rule
it.
it out. That could be an alternative Christmas movie.
Okay, should we take a hard left turn from Jack Frost to a Yorgos Lanthimos's The Lobster?
Yeah, please.
All right, so I don't have a physical copy of this, but
Me neither.
I did like this movie. I feel like my letterbox review might have sounded a little harsh,
Oh, I don't think I read
mostly
it.
I don't know if you read it or not, but
No, actually, let me see if I can find it real quick.
I did really like this movie, but I did feel like it just had this overwhelmingly like stale feeling, which I think is part of the point of the movie. But
It's
like
definitely
everything in
dry.
yeah,
Yeah.
but just like all the locations and everything and like the way the dialogue is delivered. Um I don't know if I'm not as familiar with Yorgos. Is that kind of like his style?
I think
Um,
so.
or is it just specifically for this movie? Because the only other
Well,
one of his movies I've seen is Poor Things, which is
yeah.
pretty far like fantastical, weird,
I,
And
I,
this is
I,
also very weird, but it's also very stale feeling to me.
yeah, I think Poor Things is more like out there in terms of the aesthetic than what I had been used to for his movies.
Hmm.
Um, I do think like yeah, in the Lobster does have sort of a very dull look to it,
Yeah,
wouldn't you say? It's not a very
yeah. I mean,
vibrant.
I don't really know why that was the first thing that popped into my head when I started thinking about like what I wanted to say about the movie. Because there are some very interesting ideas that they're playing with. It's like basically it's about, or I think it's just about kind of like the stuff we put ourselves through for relationships. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
I
kind of
think
like
that's
what
a
I
part of
took away
it, and
from it.
also just like the societal idea of relationships. Like,
Yeah, I guess it's like the pressures that society puts on you for like number one, you have to be in a relationship to like be a part of society.
yeah, and then it's like
And number two, like the stuff that some people are like willing to do to fit into society through their
trying
relationship.
trying to find like your common ground, and obviously it's like an absurdist take on it. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
to the point in the movie where it's like, oh well, she's blind, so I'm gonna make myself blind to be.
I gotta say that I was nervous that I was gonna see that.
I know. I love The Lobster for sort of its absurdist, observational style, but I do think it's funny through a lot of it too. Like there's a lot of funny stuff in it. But there's definitely a lot of super weird stuff and super disturbing stuff. There is one part that I feel like I should have warned you about that I actually hate about this movie, and it has to do with the dog. Do you
Oh
remember?
yeah, I
Uh,
hated that part. Yeah.
that part is absolutely awful. I
That
don't like the
character is like the worst character of all time. Like
yeah. That part is hard for me to watch like every time. I just like want to skip that part because if it wasn't for that, everything else I can take it for the spirit of which it's intended.
yeah.
I may not love every other part, but I can like take it for what they're going for. But that part, I can't stomach it. I don't want to watch it. I just want that part to be over every time I do watch it.
Yeah. I know this is probably like part of the point of the message of the movie or whatever, but I was so frustrated with the part where John C. Reilly's character is like forced to put his hand in a toaster too. I was just like,
Yeah.
why would you subject yourself to this? Maybe I missed something at the beginning of the movie, but does it explain why all these people are in this hotel? Is it just every adult over a certain age, if you're not a
Yeah.
married couple, you have to go to this hotel? Is
There's a
that how it
timeline.
works?
Yeah, there's definitely a timeline. Like if you want to continue in society, which is why those other people like live out in the woods because they aren't doing it.
Right. It is cool when once you get to the point where Colin Farrell's character is out living in the woods with the
Yeah.
single people,
Hmm.
because they have their own set of rules too.
That's
That's
right.
just as harsh as
Yeah.
the rules of like being in society. So it's kind of like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah. Which again, I do think that, that's all part of the observational lens that's just being put on, society's relationships, forming into groups, being part of a certain set of rules, whether you're on one side or the other. And, it's having fun with that. Some things are definitely laugh out loud. Some things you're like, huh, that's kind of cute and funny. And then other things are just like hard to watch
That's
and hard to
fucked
be
up.
like, yeah, exactly.
When Rachel Weisz gets blinded, I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh my God, this is so dark!" Like,
Yeah.
because at that point, I feel like you're really rooting for her and Colin Farrell to like actually go back to live in society or whatever. Because like that's their whole plan. They're like, we're gonna go run away together to live the rest of our lives in the city. Like they finally found this match where they actually really love each other, and then because they're in this other part of society at this point, it doesn't work out, and
Yeah.
she ends up getting blinded by like the leader, and
Yep.
it's just that part gutted me. I was like, oh my God, I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I feel like being blinded is like one of the worst things that could possibly happen to you.
It would be pretty rough. Yeah. It's definitely not something that I feel like I want to experience in my life. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I have such an appreciation for the movie though. I mean, I do have a copy of the screenplay downstairs, even though I don't own it on physical media.
I mean, I get why you like it so much, and I really like the fact that there's so much like stuff to chew on, like stuff to think about.
Yeah.
Just like all the societal relationship stuff that's the whole thing of the movie. So
Right.
I like that aspect of it. For
Same.
sure.
And that of course is like what's interesting to me. And I just like the angle. I like the angle that he took with it. It's kind of fun. But yeah, I mean, the scene with the dog, I can't, that's one reason why I don't rewatch the movie that much. I mean, I've definitely seen it several times, but I can't just put it on. It's not a movie that I can even put on. I feel like I could put this movie on to fall asleep to if it wasn't for that scene, because I don't want to wake up and have that scene going on. It's
Yeah.
just not good. It's not good for my vibe, for my mentality. It's gonna totally harsh my mel.
Yeah.
I'll be freaking out on some bummer trip if I wake up and that scene's on.
Well,
all right. Well,
I need to watch some more Yorgos because now I've only seen a couple, but I'm interested. My interest has been piqued, I guess you would say.
okay, very good. Well, then we'll work more of that into the mix. We know that I'll obviously be doing the Iron Giant for next episode, but we'll see what else.
All right. Okay. I think that's going to do it for this episode, right, Matt? You don't have
Yeah,
anything else?
absolutely. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. How about that?
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Hope you get some time to spend with your family and friends and hopefully some time off work. And yeah, just have a nice holiday. Thanks, everybody, for watching and listening. If you're not already, subscribe to our YouTube channel, High Volume Video, and leave us a rating and review if you would like on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Return to VideoTech.